1st of May, and it's actually 5 years ago I bought this car, 1st of May. It had a couple of nice years in the beginning in sunny Dubai, but maybe it will be summer here in Sweden. Hopefully soon. So I better finish up the Lamborghini. Okay, car is slowly coming together here, and I am a little bit stupid. I think instead of just putting everything back, the turbo system as it was before, just with the stronger engine motor inside there, I want to rebuild some stuff, modify, and make this car better. So it takes a little bit more time. But that's the fun process, I think, to always improve and do parts better. Here we have some nice parts coming from CNC. It is some parts for the oil system. And this is, yeah, it's only one of these I will use for the car. This is the oil system parts, and this is version 3 of the parts here. The original version of the system is like this. These parts are sitting in the V of the engine, and the oil pressure is coming from here, and it's a check valve here, and here is the oil filter housing. It's a very expensive filter that's inside here, and it's hard to get at it. And there's also here the oil pressure sensor on this. It is some parts on the inside here. Old spare engine, this is what it looks like from the inside here, some parts. And one problem when installing turbo of this car is how to take oil pressure for the turbos. I installed one of these oil filter housings that's remote oil filter. So now the oil filter is easy to get to. So what I did when I lived in Dubai, I made a CAD drawing to display it, make a nice one, but I could not find anyone in whole Dubai that could machine that for me, so it was a little bit problem. So this is what I had in my car for some time now. Cut this off, and yeah, AN welded on an AN fitting there, so I have these hoses to my relocation filter there. And this is manually machined piece. Not very nice, but it has been working. And this is the stock bottom part of it, that it's machined down, gasket. And here you can see a little piece on the side here, machined in. I had some leaks, so I had to remove the intake manifold to get to this, actually a couple of times there in my parking garage in Dubai. So it was working, this one finally, and but it doesn't look very good. Then I had a friend help me to make this one in CAD. I got the file and did a little bit modifications to it, added some pockets here to make it as lightweight as possible. Here I cannot make any pockets because it needs to be flat, and then I got it machined. Looks very nice. So this one is will be an AN fitting here, and this one is going in the oil from the filter back to the engine again. And here is also oil pressure sensor. And I made the material there, so it will be possible to install one of these stock Lamborghini sensors with 3/8 thread there. But I also made a little bit more material here, so it's possible to put in 1/8 sensor, a more common sensor, more cost effective and easier to get. So I will use that again, because these fail from time to time. That's pretty common with many kind of pressure sensors. The vibrations are killing them. Even if you have a $1,000 sensor, if vibrations get to them, they can die pretty soon. This part that comes from the oil pump, I did this one in CAD. I'm actually a little bit proud of it. Looks very nice. I'm not an expert at 3D CAD. What I have done before, that we use in my company for injectors, and I also use them on the Gallardo here on the injectors, are these kind of adapters that we make. But those are pretty simple. Could do it very simple with straight edges here and pretty thick, but I try to remove material where it should not be. Here you can see the O-ring groove for it, and this is off center and a big chamfer here, almost all the way, not where the bolt is. So yeah, this is small details. If you're working with CAD, this is very simple, but for me that learned this just by myself playing around with the program there. So I think it's pretty cool. You can just send it away to someone with a CNC machine and you get it back. Looks like this. And these pockets to remove some parts to get the weight down, and same with this one. Make it just as strong as it needs to be, but not too much material. That's the Superleggera way, because this car is the Superleggera, and that is super light, I think, in Italian. If you did not know, this Superleggera is 100 kilos lighter than a normal Gallardo. I have no education whatsoever in CAD, and it's the same with the TIG welding and stuff like that. No education, just play around and you're gonna learn. So, yeah, this is a very small part, but if it's possible to do parts like this, it should be possible to do a little bit of whatever. So hopefully I can make some nice parts for it here on in the future. So the good thing now, I can more easily get access to the oil filter. I can use oil filter that is not that expensive, more capacity. And also I have here a line that goes out for the turbos for oil pressure there. Yeah, one little detail I have modified on this car now are these fittings here. The Stratoflex fittings, quick disconnect. The oil lines for the cooler of the gearbox. The original ones are these steel braided hoses with normal connections. I will replace them now to these Stratoflex fittings, because every time you remove the gearbox, you disconnect these hoses and they will just oil the run of them all the time, and it will get really messy. So I installed these Stratoflex fittings, and the cool thing about them is that they are from a Formula 1 car. Here is where they come from. And if you want to see more a video of these where I explain a little bit more of these Formula 1 parts, what kind of Formula 1 cars, check the video in the description below here. There was a problem with this video when I posted it on YouTube, so no subscribers got any notification at all. So what's special about these Stratoflex fittings? First of all, they look very nice, and the thing is, they are quick disconnect. When you have disconnected them, they are totally leak free, so it will be no leaks at all, and very easy to install them and remove them. So very nice quality. It actually is the same kind of fittings I see in where I'm working with business jet aircrafts, and they are using the same fittings, for example for the brakes. Only one single line with these Stratoflex fittings, so that's cool. Also changed these hoses here to nylon braided instead of steel braided, and that saved me half a kilo on the weight of the car. They are not these nice XRP fittings that I usually use, but I did not have any now here in stock, but these nylon braided are in stock here in the stock over there at BGP Race. So good quality hoses, and they will be plenty good for this oil. It's not high pressure there either. And what do we have here? I think we got a little bit of visit here in the workshop. Another white Gallardo, and this one is a little bit different. It's a wide body one, looking pretty cool. And it's also a spider, no roof here. That is nice in the summertime. An engine up here, of course. Looking very fresh here, this interior. Some carbon fiber and leather. the navigation, big navigation system there as well. And just a comparison, here is the engine. It's normally aspirated here, and you can almost not see the engine. If you compare it to my engine, which is more accessible, this is completely covered. You can only see a little bit of the engine here. So it's a little bit hard to work on this one. Yeah, and this is how it looks with the Hamann wide body kit. Sorry for the muddy tires. It's a little bit mud outside here. And yeah, this is nice. It's an e-gear car with this wide body. Absolutely different for Lamborghini. The owner has ordered the wing that it's supposed to be for this kit. So it's gonna be installed the wing. And one thing about Gallardos is that they actually don't have Lamborghini doors like Aventadors, Murciélagos and the other models, Diablo. But this one, it actually have kind of Lamborghini doors. Looking pretty cool. And I think that is something that Hamann made. This one is built in Germany. And the hinge here, it's actually only one hinge here in the upper side. And on the lower here, it's just an gas. It's an Alco. They make parts for like trailers and stuff. So German parts. So it looks very strong, this one, and works very good. This is not one of those cheap Lambo door kits. You cannot move the door or up and down. And yeah, working good. This is an e-gear car, and e-gear cars can have sometimes a little bit problem with the gearbox. And if you have low battery voltage, it can get some fault codes and go into limp home mode, only 1 and 2 gear. Then I can connect the computer and make an e-gear, yeah, snap and check all the codes. One good thing about this e-gear, which have a sensor on the clutch, is that you can see how much is left of the clutch. This one has now 66% left, and it's a lot of values you can see here on the gearbox and all the components in the e-gear system. So made a printout. But now let's go for lunch. Take this one today. The old Pash, I don't say Puck, we say in Sweden. I don't know how they say it in a little bit of choke, I think. And this one is forward. Test fitting some parts here. to see what I can modify, because one indication I had that I could have a problem is the oil pressure. I had a little bit problem with the oil pressure when I was driving on a track. Normal driving on the road, even if I was driving hard, it was no problem at all. And I made a warning in the Motec on the dash, so it will warn when the oil pressure gets under my threshold. So the threshold is higher and higher RPM and lower and lower RPM. And the problem was when I was turning right, when it was higher G-forces. And I think with these Toyo R tires, it will give you a little bit more G-forces than with normal tires. What I think is the problem is the oil tank. The oil tank is here. It's shaped like an boot. It's not round like normal dry sump tanks. So I think that is the problem. And why it's shaped like this, I will take it out so you can see better, is because it is normally here in this area. Now it's just air here. This is, by the way, the pipe from the stock exhaust manifolds that goes up to my turbo. So it's just one simple pipe here that goes to the turbo. So the turbo system, it's if you want to build it on a Lamborghini, it's actually pretty simple compared to many other cars. You don't need to have to build exhaust manifolds. The stock one is just fine there. But yeah, now you have a lot of room here, because it is this boy here, big one. The catalytic converter is supposed to be there, and this one is big. You can see it's almost as big as the oil tank itself. It's one on this side and one on this side. And because I brought this into Sweden as in modified condition, it does not need to have the catalytic converters. It's the same rules on this one, this car, as on old cars like in 1975 cars and older. So that's a good thing. I can pass emissions without catalytic converters. And for people that says I'm not good for the environment, I don't drive this car a lot, and I climate compensate with not driving my car every day. I use my bicycle to and from the work every day, so that's fine. But here I have room to modify this one. My plan was to put in a round oil tank in this location. So bring this one up. I had problems when I was turning left in a high G-force turns. The pickup is in the bottom here. And what do you think when turning left? Yeah, the oil will go this way up here, even though it is some chambers inside here. Oh, Lamborghini Italia. So a little bit strange shape of this one. And one thing I have seen when these Gallardos GT2 and for racing, they're using the stock engine, completely stock horsepower, but they're using slicks. They are using another oil tank. They're not using the stock one. They're using a round one. So maybe they have seen this problem as well. And when I tear the engine apart, it was all fine. The bearings looked like new, so it never got any damage from that. Yep, I think I'm gonna rebuild this one. The oil level now, it's about here. That's a good thing. Then my connections here will fit. All the hoses and everything is still the same. So, but the ultimate would maybe be to put in an aftermarket better oil tank. Alright, just finished welding. We're here with my ESAB TIG welder with the modification of this oil tank here. So the modification I did was that this part here is added to this one. So it will have a little bit more capacity. So hopefully I will have a very good oil pressure at all times in the future. These welds are from Lamborghini. These are by Peter Björk. So not this one, but this one. It's not any professional I don't do welding that often, but it's fun to do aluminum welding. And if you notice one more thing, it doesn't have this pipe anymore. This little pipe here is supposed to be here. I just brutally cut it off. It says oleo, and this is the oil stick. So how should I check the oil level in the future? It is with this one. It's an Reventec solid state capacitive sensor I'm gonna put in here, because it was a little bit tight with the turbos and everything around this pipe, so I will put in a sensor instead. And this company, Reventec, they do parts for Formula 1 cars and other racing cars. So this one is in the Eco range, should be a little bit cheaper, still not cheap sensor. I did specify exactly what length, what fitting I wanted here, and also they calibrated it for the exact same oil, motul oil that I will use in this one. So instead of that, it will go in here. Oh, sensor in this one. And I will connect this one to the dash, so I can see it in real time, the oil level in the future. To check the oil with this stock dipstick, actually pretty nice but heavy dipstick here holder. To check this one, you need to have the car warm, 80 degrees oil temp, and then you have to rev the car for 2000 RPM in at least 50 seconds. Then turn it off, and then pretty soon you should check the oil level. So that's a little bit complicated. Now when I have this sensor, I can take it to the Mutec dash, and I can see the level all the time. I can, if the oil level goes low, I can have some warning. If there should be any big leak or something, then it can warn before the oil pressure gets low. So that's pretty cool, I think. Always improve this car.